Hey everybody, welcome to Easy Tarot Lessons. I'm Squirrel and I'm here with Sally and Mandy. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
And I am super excited because we are into the trumps or the major arcana. Take your pick. And before we get started, I do want to point out that the Easy Tarot lessons, we primarily read the cards by the image that is put in front of us. A lot of new students have some esoteric information that they try to superimpose on the cards and they get very confused. We don't generally do the esoteric. However, what we're going to be doing today is me and Sally and Mandy. We're going to be looking at the cards and telling you what we see in them. And I have to be honest with you, some of us have different levels of esoteric information. That is part of our worldview. It is how we will see these cards, as long as we're not trying to superimpose something that isn't in the image. So, if we do have some esoteric information in these podcasts, it's not that we're trying to be all esoteric, it's just that's how we see stuff. So, what we're doing here is we're teaching you how to look at the card and pull out the meaning that you can physically see. All right?
All right.
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mandy, you mentioned earlier that you don't have a great deal of esoteric information that you've studied.
No.
So when
None.
you look at these cards, you see the images. You don't see those superimpositions that sometimes Sally and I see.
No. But I feel I feel sometimes I will come out with something that feels quite deep and meaningful, and then it turns out that it was esoteric without me even realizing. So I'm an accidental esotericist.
I love that phrase.
I do too. I'm like totally stealing that phrase. So this is very important because this is our worldview. It's part of who we are, and we really can't separate ourselves from it. But the thing with this is we are not going through a book. We are not looking on the internet. What does the right white rose mean? What's the S? It's just stuff that we already believe and breathe. We're not looking to force anything in there. It just comes naturally. And you'll see how we do it. And look, Yappy Dog's talking
That's
to
what I
us.
was thinking.
What we
Uh,
got three-dimensional cards that even make noise.
Oh, sorry about that. Right, hang on.
I think it was hysterical. It sounded like the
yeah.
fool just kept on walking and that dog was going hysterical. So okay.
Where do
It's
we
not
go from
laughing.
here?
Oh, since your dog introduced him, let me introduce the fool. Card zero. And I'd really love for Sally to start off with this because she has some very special bonds with this card.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, I look at the Fool, and you still have some of those meanings you learned when you were first starting to look at the major arcana. You have like this free spirit, this I'm just going to move forward, uh, just take whatever risk that I feel like I want to take. I'm really not looking at my feet. I'm looking up at the sky. I'm very happy. I'm very light spirited. I believe that at the end of that cliff, there's a rainbow, and you can walk on that rainbow. And part of this comes from, and this is that special connection you're talking about, is, I'm a druid. So I have those beliefs and those images in my head. And for me, to walk on that bridge, that rainbow bridge, not the rainbow bridge from the North Gods, but my own personal from this realm to my healing realm is it's solid, and it's solid because of my faith. If I don't have faith, I would fall through that rainbow bridge and plummet to whatever lies below. So when I look at this, that's what I see with this person. He's getting ready, or she's getting ready to cross that rainbow bridge. She knows that there is something under their feet, and they won't fall. And to go even further with this card, there's this little knapsack that's over the shoulder of the image I'm looking at, the Waite Smith deck. And for me, in Druidry, there's a thing called a crane bag. And I look at this bag, and there's a bird on this bag. So this bag for me has always been the crane bag, and it's all the knowledge that you have. It's every tool you need to move forward in the world. It's your magical tools, but it's also the essence of everything you are, because in a sense you are the crane bag. So I'm looking at this person. He has everything he needs in that bag over his shoulder. He looks like he's traveling light, but he has everything he needs, and he's just so light of spirit and so full of faith. Whatever step he takes, he's not going to fall. He's going to be supported. So that's what I see when I see the Fool, if any of that makes sense.
Yeah, lovely.
Well, I had learned in a somewhat similar way, just not with that crane bag, because I'm not a druid, but I had learned early on that that was all the tools that were that in that bag was the cup, the wand, the pentacle, and the brain fart. Because you always
Sword.
got to carry brain farts. Sword. Um, it was all the representations of the elements in that bag. So there's a similarity there.
Mm.
Mandy, what do you think of him?
Well, I love him. I mean, every time this card comes up for me, I feel this warm glow. It's one of
Mhm.
those cards that affects me. It's like he's so free spirited. He's so uncomplicated. I just think I believe I didn't ever know about or think about the Rainbow Bridge, and I do like that a lot. But I actually believe if he did step off the cliff, I think he'd fly. I think he's got wings. Look at him. He's gonna fly. I just feel go for it.
Mhm.
Um, I actually happen to have, by pure coincidence, a dress that looks like that. It's even got the sleeves.
Mhm.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
That's
just
awesome.
and I feel different now about that dress. Now familiar with this card. It just seems special to me, that dress, that by coincidence bought it. I do feel I didn't know about all the tools in the bag. I just thought, oh, he's traveling very light. He has no baggage. That's how I saw the little bag. It's like
Mm.
so many people have so much baggage to deal with. He doesn't. You just want to be him.
Mm.
Um, Also, something I can't work out about him is he at the beginning or is he at the end? Is he at the start of a big adventurous journey, or does he represent spiritual enlightenment? Is this what we're all actually aiming for ultimately?
I think that's why he's the zero. To me,
Yeah,
that is the unlimited potential. That's that's the in between spaces where he hasn't taken that next step. You don't know if he's going to fall. You don't know if he's going to fly or step on the bridge. It's the potential of it. And I think the zero shows the beginning and the end. It comes full circle.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, for me, he seems he's out of time. Not, out of time like the clock's run out, but
yeah.
he doesn't exist within the boundaries of time.
I
And
love that. Yeah,
in the game, he was pretty much the trump of all trumps. He was the get out of jail free, the escape
Mhm.
card.
Mhm.
the only thing I don't like about him is the name, the Fool. I think it kind of gives it just throws some negative impression onto him for people that don't know any better. Do you know
Mhm.
what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't think he's a fool at all.
Well,
He's just,
um
yeah,
if you think of court fools,
Yes, that's
which
what
we
I was
don't
thinking of.
have anymore,
Mhm.
yeah, they could say what other people couldn't say.
Right.
They could do what other people couldn't do. They
Right.
could point out the truth in a very brutal way and never be called out for it because that was part of their job.
Mm.
Right.
And I was always I that didn't bother me because I always heard God loves children and fools, which
Oh.
meant that fools have an innocence to them, a naivety and a
Hmm.
beauty of wonder.
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, to me, the word fool means idiot, stupid,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of like someone who makes the wrong decisions, and I just think, oh my God, he's just so way above all that. And yes, he has got that naivety and that lightness about him. I just think fool for me is the wrong word to describe him.
Now,
Ignore it.
yeah, ignore it, or some people, I just can't bring myself to do this myself, but some people cut it right off the card.
Do
Oh.
Or
they?
tape it over, or put something over
Mm.
it, because a lot of it is misleading. I mean, look at the hermit. You know, you
Mm.
Yeah,
think hermit, you think somebody who stays by themselves.
yeah,
Isolation doesn't always mean that.
yeah. And obviously, these cards were given these names 100 odd years ago, weren't they?
Yeah.
Words change, don't they? I mean, look at the word gay, fun. These words,
Yeah.
they've got different kind of implications now to, even 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So perhaps fool was different then.
Well, I this may have to come out because it's kind of off rail, but I had just recently read that lunatic was actually the word to describe a very devout follower of Luna, of the moon
Oh,
goddess. That it
Mm.
was a very special word saved for people who were very pious to the moon goddess. But over time, with Christianity coming in, it was used as a derivative word, you know, to make
mm,
fun of those pious people, and it turned into something a completely different meaning. So
right. Yeah,
yes, it's
yeah.
definitely change.
Hmm.
Now, we're missing one glaring factor that Dusty always talks about.
Are we ignoring the yappy dog?
We so are. Tell me about the yappy dog.
You know, the dog there, so rooted in reality, is saying, warning, warning, there's a ledge. You don't want to go to the ledge. You really quit, notice there's a ledge here. And the poor fool is like, don't trouble me with little itty bitty details. Quit being that little naggy voice in the side of, inside of my head. So for me, I see that if I'm focusing on the little dog in the reading, I'm like, oh, your mind is really chewing at you. It's doubt. It's making you second guess. It's kind of like that, like the yappy dog. Throw him a bone. Go away. Go outside.
Kick him off the cliff. No, don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So that's what I think of it. If I focus in on that dog, that's what I'm thinking of. It's those thoughts in my head that are distracting me from where I want to go.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you listen to that dog and you take your step onto your rainbow bridge,
I fall
that
through.
yes.
Yeah.
What kind of interpretations have you had with him in a reading? Because this is all super amazing information. But how do we apply that to everyday life when we come up
Just
with the fool?
you only live once, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a risk worth taking. Take
Mm-hmm.
a chance or lighten up, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It,
Quit
you,
overthinking it.
Yeah.
yeah, you need to kind of go on a bit of an adventure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't overcomplicate things, just
Follow your gut.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Trust the universe.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like permission for you to just sort of go and enjoy yourself.
And take that leap of faith.
Love
Yes,
that. Yes. Yeah. What about reversed?
Mm. It again, reversals. Depends on how you see reversals and what's hitting you at that particular time. But if I saw it reversed, a lot of times what's happened is you have doubt. Your yappy dog has overtaken whatever else is going on in your head, and you're stymied. You're not going anywhere because you're frozen. You're frozen by your own thoughts. You're stuck where you are. You're afraid to take that next step. Those things have come up a lot. How about you guys?
I
That,
would.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go on. Yeah.
Go,
Go on, Sharon.
go, go.
Okay. Now, I just love this card so much that even in reverse, I still see it usually as a very, very positive energy. But I feel in reverse, it would be, look, I would just be a little bit cautious. Oh,
Mhm.
I still think you should go for it. I think you should be prepared to take the risk, but have a kind of like a boundary that you don't cross. Like just watch the risk element of it a little bit. Just be
Mhm.
a little bit cautious.
Both of those, yes. And I have also
Mhm.
seen it as don't do it.
Right?
It's like,
Right?
open your eyes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We're going to have to do a whole podcast on reversals because they're such
Mhm.
tricksy beasts. But
Mhm.
each of those is valid. Each of those is valid. And that's what makes it so difficult is you've got to learn to trust the intuition. And
Yeah.
he's a beautiful card for learning to trust your intuition because he's
Absolutely.
Oh
ignoring the,
yeah.
yeah. It's like, what
Yeah.
yappy dog?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. No, he's great. He's really great.
He
Yeah,
is one of my favorite cards to see.
me too. His chest is just lifted to the sky and the sun, and it's just you
Yeah.
feel lighter than air when you look at him.
Yes.
And traditionally, and this is stuck in my head from when I started learning, but traditionally, he is considered one of the wish cards.
Mhm.
So that may or may not apply.
But
I've
again, listen to your
never read
intuition.
him as such, but he does have that element to him.
Mhm.
Like Sally said, he's got, and Mandy, he's got everything he needs.
Yes. But
Lighthearted
don't
doesn't.
we all carry around so much clutter, emotional clutter? Do you know what I mean? Like handbags full of rubbish that we don't need. It's like, it's like he is like just declutter everything and just have it all what you keep things light, keep things streamlined. You'll just feel so much more spiritually vibrant if you
Mhm.
do.
Didn't
Mhm.
you have a reading where I may be mistaken here? It may have been the Fool, but I keep seeing the Seven of Cups, where you actually told somebody to declutter their house
Yes,
before.
yes,
Yeah.
I did, and it was unbelievable that reading. I've never forgotten it. That was at a festival actually, and
Mhm.
yeah, and I told someone to declutter their house. He didn't even know what he wanted his reading to be about, and he only came for a reading because his wife forced him to have a reading, and he
Mhm.
he was very kind of like, oh, load of old rubbish, and I said it came up, do the reading about his house or something, and he should declutter it. I couldn't get him to leave. I couldn't get him to leave. And and he was saying, "Oh my," because I said, "You may find amongst the stuff that that you're clearing out some stuff that is of real value that will trigger sort of memories and stories and things, as you do it." And he was saying, "Oh, my parents are coming over from America." And they've never seen our house, and oh my god! And it was like he just went off on this complete nostalgia thing in the tent,
Oh
and
wow.
afterwards, he sort of said, "Oh my god, I just wasn't expecting all of that." And most of it, I just said declutter, and I just sat there and just listened to all his stories and everything. It was extraordinary. He wasn't
Mhm.
expecting it,
That is
Mhm.
so
but no,
awesome.
it was the Seven of Cups.
Okay, so it was the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seven
I
of
think it was Seven
Cups.
of Cups reversed, actually. Yeah, But I'm seeing this as very decluttering as well because he's just traveling so light.
Yeah.
Oh,
I also like how he's holding this flower in a
Yeah,
background that's just totally barren. He found a flower. Where is this flower growing? So he's just it's optimism. It's finding the beauty in
yeah,
desolation. He's just my eternal optimist is in this card.
I love that.
yeah,
Oh, I never even thought of that, where the hell that flower came from. That was
yeah. That's
beautiful.
great. Yeah,
Man.
and the interesting thing is he is traveling so light, and yet he's still giving such importance to that flower.
Hmm.
It's like it's a thing of real value.
Yep. Something he would protect, something he would nurture. Yeah. Or maybe the dog wants the flower. I don't know.
Tasty snack.
Right?
But hopefully everybody can see how we're looking at the card. Yes, we do have some levels of esoterica that are going to be part of our worldview, but Sally's eye might not be drawn to the bag. It might be drawn to the dog. It
Hmm.
might be drawn to the flower, like she just said. Let yourself get to know the card so that when you are drawn to something specific in it, you're not going, what the hell just happened? Right?
Right.
Right. Take the time to get to know them, see how you feel about them, and trust it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Anybody got anything else to add with the Fool? I know we could be here like 7 days with him. It's gonna be hard to keep these Trump ones short, isn't it?
Right. Yes, it is.
Till we get to the Emperor, I got nothing to say about him. No. But that
Well,
was
I know this is not quite what we're talking about, but would you see him as more Aries or Sagittarius?
the Emperor.
No, the Fool.
Oh, the Fool. Ah.
Sagittarius for me.
I would have to go with Sally on Sagittarius because he's just so light and free.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, Aries, I'm afraid he'd look a little more what is that word? Like he's got something to do.
The determination, looking
Thank you.
forward. Yeah.
yeah,
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 Sagittarius is more like la di da. Let's just
right,
enjoy the walk.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
So that was great, you two. That was some beautiful information.
Love this card.
I love these podcasts.
Same. Same here.
yeah.
Very
So,
fun.
thank you both very, very much, and we will return with more Trumps,
Yay.
the kind we
Bye.
like. Bye.
Bye, everyone.